Planning and preparing your DJ set can be a lifesaver. For the beginner DJ, it can give you a confident foundation to go off of when you perform a live gig or even a live stream. And even for more experienced DJs, it can be a huge time saver when you have sets that you know perform well for live gigs or social media. So here are my 5 tips for planning, preparing DJ sets for beginners. If you like what we're doing here and you want to keep up to date with the latest episodes, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell for future episodes. So my first tip is to really do your due diligence and research and find what music you want to bring to the gig. This means if you're DJing for a client, look at the client list and ask questions to tailor your set to fit their interests. I myself DJ house music, but I know 100% that's not everybody's cup of tea. So if I'm ever asked to mix in a different style, I know what questions I need to ask to prepare myself for that venture. Let's take, for example, I'm asked to perform a drum and bass set for a small venue. That lets me know that the guest list that's coming is tailored to that specific genre of music, and I need to prepare music that they would like so that they can stay on the dance floor. Now, I could go on popular sites just like Beatport or Spotify and just take the top 50 drum and bass tracks and call it a day. But that puts me at risk of sounding like everybody else, and it takes away any sort of creativity or things that will make me stand out in front of them. So what I prefer to use is additionally use YouTube and 1001 Tracklist, a site where you find track lists of live sets. I look for artists in that genre that I like particularly, and I tailor and be very selective with the tracks I choose, in addition to grabbing what's trending currently in the genre. This way, I have a lot more versatility when preparing my set and a larger selection pool. So the next step in this process is to start preparing and downloading the tracks you want to bring in to the gig. Last episode, we discussed about cue point systems and how we can use those to prepare our tracks. And if you haven't seen that video, you can click the card right here to go watch that. Doing that, as well as analyzing the key and BPM of tracks, can be a really good way to speed up the process of finding which tracks sound good together. Now, you can imagine that it's a bit tricky to teach which songs sound good together, because music itself is subjective. What I like can be completely opposite to what you like, and that's really what makes music so great. But what I can teach is that instead of just ordering all your tracks by either key or BPM, you may want to really take the time and sit down and figure out which songs really work well together and craft some combos out of that. What I mean by combos is, let's say you have 2 or 3 tracks that work perfectly together when they're played in a specific order or when you do a very specific transition. That, in a sense, is a combo. Basically, you figured out an idea to really make these tracks work well together, and to really make the most out of that is to save that idea and reserve that whenever you come across the first track in that combo. So if you're mixing and you come across the track that, oh, I know I can build into a really awesome transition that I've practiced, save those moments. So my third tip is, after you've really set up and found a good order to start things off, it's to practice, practice, practice. Whether it's nailing the transitions or a very specific transition you want to highlight, or whether you want to go full send and just record the entire thing in one go. Any way that you can just go through the motions and practice and prepare yourself without failure can do you justice here. But more importantly is to keep your ears open for areas where you can improve. If you hear something or you're just not feeling a transition or a certain part of your set list, go back to the drawing board and rework that section. You really want to aim for perfection here and create something that sounds just amazing. Now, another tip that's helped me out a lot is to prepare for redundancy. And what I mean by that is to prepare yourself to rework your set and change the mood on the fly, or over-prepare your set by bringing in a lot more tracks than you're needed. Let's say you're scheduled to DJ for a 1-hour block, but the DJ before you doesn't show up and now you're scheduled for a 2-hour block. If you just brought in 1 hour's worth of music, you wouldn't be able to fill the block. So over-preparing and bringing in a lot of tracks that maybe even half of them you won't use can really be beneficial to making you stand out as a leader in front of your peers. Another thing to prepare for is if there's a potential lull on the dance floor. Let's say you're going through your set like normal, you've practiced it and you've perfected it and you're really proud of it, but the dance floor or the people are just not vibing with it and the excitement levels you're expecting just aren't there. What you need to do in this situation, or what I feel you need to do, is you need to be able to read the crowd and find and pick and choose which music can resonate with them. You really have 2 options in this situation. If you have a planned set that's not going to plan. You can continue on and push through, but potentially not get the response you're getting from the dance floor and sort of settle things down unintentionally. Or you can, what I prefer to do is to abandon and try to find the music that resonates with them, with the set list you over-prepared for. Let's say you go on and the DJ playing before just ended with some more commercial sounding stuff and the crowd loved it, but you've prepared more underground stuff and you kind of want to bring that in, but if you go straight into that, the crowd may not vibe with it. Instead, you might want to start off continuing of that commercial vibe and then slowly bring in those underground tracks that you can win the crowd over. It's one of the reasons why when I build my sets, I like to make small little chunks or combos instead of a definitive order, so that to my leisure I can jump around in my set list to different areas, tailor the mix to the current crowd in front of me, and rework it on the fly. And my last tip is just some general advice when you're set building. The general consensus to building sets is to build up in energy as it progresses. Starting slow and building up with more frantic energy and more heavier tracks as you go through your set. Again, you have to be aware of the crowd and you have to adapt when you need to. Let's say you're going up to start your gig and the crowd is raring to go, really excited, really full of energy. I would just give them what they want and go hard right from the beginning. Another situation, let's say you are in the very heavy parts of your set list and you're seeing the crowd sort of lag or lose energy a little bit. That's a good point then to start dialing things down so that you can give them a break and prepare them for the next hard section of your track list. Okay, that's gonna do it for DJ Essentials, and those were my 5 tips to preparing set lists for beginners. If you enjoyed the episode, again, please make sure to like and comment, and subscribe and turn on notifications for future videos. I have a couple ideas planned for the next episode. It might involve different genres of music. I know that's been requested in the comments, so hopefully the next episode will be something revolving around that. But I've been Zeeshan, and I'm signing out.